It's another handy tool. I make a couple of these. It's just a 1/2 inch bar that I welded a bolt onto to use for a dolly. This one, I put a little curve in it. And those are handy because you can use them, just set them in your vise. I put a nut on there so I don't have to clamp down so tight, but that holds it in place. And then if you got a little radius like this that you need to finish up, it works really nice. Especially if you're joining two pieces where the radius might be just a little bit different on each piece. When you pull that out of the bead roller, if you pull, one could be in just a fraction of an inch more than the other, and this will clean it up. So basically you just, you find your radius wherever you want to tap on it. That cleans that right up. So I'll weld that there. So before putting my trim on, this piece I made here, I cleaned it and sprayed zinc weld through primer. Same thing with the edge. I took a disc pad and down to bare metal, and then I sprayed zinc weld through primer. And I usually do that any place there's two pieces of metal together, or if I can't get in, like if I'm boxing something in, I usually spray it on the back side. If I can't access it later, I just like to do that for a little extra protection. So I'll screw this on now, and then I'll weld this piece up on there. It'll be ready to go, and that'll give it some rust prevention. So I got my plug welds done. So they're just pretty much flush. Have to grind them down a little bit. So it'll stay on there now. I'm going to pull all these screws out and probably just go ahead and plug those screw holes right away while I'm at it. And then I'll sand it down and get my molding on there. Reuse those screws over and over and over. few spots. And so when I bend it, obviously when you break this, it's going to be a perfectly straight line or really close to a straight line. It's stiff and everything. But this hood has got a little bit of a crown in it. The bottom of it's got a little bit of a crown. I'm exaggerating a little bit when I do that. And so what I needed to do is I marked where the crown is, and basically it was between here, and that's about my center point. And I took it and I put it in my shrinker, and I shrunk this edge of it. And what that does, it turns it and goes this direction. It will move this flange, and it'll put a curve in it. So I'll show you how I did that with this is the passenger side piece, this is the driver's side piece. It's already shaped, and I'm sure you can't see that. Maybe you can from this angle, I don't know. But if I put these two together, now you can see how much that turns, how much of a curve there is in that. So I'm going to do the same thing with this piece. I'm going to curve it up so it fits up tight against the hood, like this one does. When it fits in here, it fits nice and tight up against the bottom. So I'll show you how I did that, and that's in the other room. So here's my shrinker and stretcher. And I just bought a inexpensive hand-controlled shrinker stretcher. This is the shrinker, this is the stretcher. And so I bolted on a piece of angle iron and then stuck it in my vise. I centered it up, so it really works pretty good. I loosen my vise up so I can spin it around if I want to shrink or if I want to stretch. So you can get a powered shrinker stretcher, you can get a foot lever for it. This works pretty good for me. Someday maybe I'll invest in a better one. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. So when you shrink a piece, you're shrinking this edge. And as you shrink it, it starts putting a curve in it. The more you shrink it, the more the curve gets. You want to take small bites across there, otherwise you could kink it. If you stretch a piece, you're doing the opposite. You're stretching the flange, and then it creates a curve like that. So that's pretty handy to use. There's a lot of parts that I've made on the car with the shrinker and the stretcher. Depends on you know, the piece, and if I need an inside curve or an outside curve. So this piece that I'm making for the hood, as I showed you before, I shrunk this edge, and I've got just a slight curve in it, and that's all I needed to fit up against the hood. So this one currently is flat, completely flat. So I'll shrink this area here until I get the curve that I want. Basically, it's just two jaws that clamp down on there and pull it together or push it apart, depending on if you're shrinking or stretching. Like I said before, you want to go small bites and move it back and forth. You don't want to just get in the center and crunch it down, because you can kink it. So you just gradually move that. And you can see it move when you clamp down on it. And a wider flange like this is a harder piece to make or to curve. If it was a small flange, it would bend really fast. So you want to get out into here a little bit and then just work the edge as well. Just work it back and forth. If it were a small piece, you could just work the edge and that's it. So I'm already getting a small curve in that. Just take it one little bite at a time. And that's probably going to be about right. So that's got, I don't know if you can see that or not, but so here's a flat edge. You see how that goes up, and get the camera in. So you see how it's went up. That's all I needed, just that little bit of a curve. This is flat through here. And you can see right there, it starts going up. So I might want to hit it just a little bit more over on this side. I'll hit that a couple times yet. Just a little bit on this edge. There, it's starting to go up on that. There we go. Those two pieces are made and ready to trim up and put in.